Hey Ben.
Hello. Sorry, I had to step into a coffee shop, so it might be kind of loud on and off.
No, I can actually hear you very well. Thank you so much for joining. Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Yep, you can?
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time and having, like this conversation with me, because the idea is that we understand what you guys are doing. Because I think that you've been great. You've been having a lot of success with the leads and the properties that we have under contract right now. So is it okay if I ask you a couple quick questions?
Yeah.
Perfect. So before we get started, Ben, just congratulations on your, I know that these are not the first deals that you've gotten from Hesel Media, but like from the ones that we have right now under contract. So can you please tell us a little about like the property and the seller, kind of like the situation, maybe for those, how many properties, I think 3 or 2?
That we have in our contract right now?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go back to opportunities really quick and see.
Perfect, because I do have, let me see, Tony Mitch, Nicole Pryor, and Avery Garrett, but I'm not sure if those are the ones that...
Yeah, Ivory Garrett, we have 2 of his technically under contract. It's like 2 separate properties that we'll be selling, but they own both. Or sorry, that we're wholesaling. We actually ended up switching that to a novation, so we're using a realtor to get it sold just because it's pretty far out there. But yeah, we have that. Tony Mitch, that property is going to be interesting. We might have to terminate. It's a huge land deal that I think we thought we could get for a better price, and they want a little bit too much.
Okay.
We're kind of working on that one.
All right.
Trying to think if we had anything else under contract.
Nicole Pryor, I think it was.
Who was it?
Nicole Pryor.
Oh, Nicole. We're waiting on her modification with the mortgage company. So the deal is kind of dependent on, she was really behind on the mortgage. They didn't tell us until after we had it under contract. And then she's trying to get that amount moved to the back.
Mm-hmm.
Once that gets done, we'll probably sort it out. But right now, we're just waiting to hear from the mortgage company.
That's great. So, 3 properties under contract. I know sometimes we face kind of like certain challenges. That's 100% part of the game, but you guys are really good at what you do. So I'm pretty sure that you guys are going to find, the way to close these 3 deals. So once again, congratulations. So quick question. Let's talk about real quick, Tony. Nicole. What were kind of like the main factors that led the seller to sell the property? Like what's her current motivation from Tony and Nicole?
Nicole is not living there anymore. The house is vacant. She's a traveling nurse. She lives out of state, and she's just paying a mortgage on a house that she's not living in. It was listed on the market with her sister, but her sister's not really helping her sell. It's just she has no equity, so it would have to be a subject to deal.
Okay. So it was listed and the contract expired, and then you guys took over, or?
No, it's still listed. We just went with her. We just spoke with her and her agent, which is her sister. So, but yeah, it was just lower equity, and she's now behind on payments a lot, and we didn't even know that until we got it under contract.
Wow. But you know what? I actually really like this one, because sometimes we think that a property listed in the MLS is not a motivated lead, but at the end of the day, if they're looking for help, somewhere else, it's because there's something happening with the agent. So yeah, 100%. I'm actually glad to hear that, because you're actually taking opportunities of every single lead that you guys are getting from Hesel Media, even if it's listed, even if it's in a different area. So that's actually great, and I'm glad to hear that. How about Tony? What's his motivation? Do you remember?
It was his aunt's house. And she's just old and ready to retire. They're running a almost like a church retreat, and we thought we'd be able to get it at a good price because they were running a business out of it. They just didn't have good financials for it, so she just wants to be done. They've owned it forever. She's trying to retire.
Wow. Okay. And how about Igor, I think it is. I forgot his name.
Yeah, they're behind on taxes, so they haven't paid in several years, and they haven't been there for I don't know several, like probably just been sitting there for a couple of years. But they already moved. It's just they're trying to get it sold without losing it to foreclosure or whatever the case is. Keep falling behind on taxes.
Okay, cool. So we have one novation, a subject to, and what's the third one?
It was just a cash wholesale deal that we were trying to do. The one with Ivory is we're basically novating two of them. They're same property. They're across the street from each other. So technically, we're separating into one's land and one's a mobile home.
Okay.
So those are both novations. The other ones would just be wholesaling it.
Wow. You guys have a bunch of good exit strategies, not just cash offers. So that's actually something that for sure is going to help way more to close more deals. So I'm glad to hear that. Ben, could you please kind of like walk us through your sales process with these sellers? Like when a lead comes in, do you usually call them right away? How many times do you call the lead? Like, are you aggressive when it comes to like follow up?
Yeah, I try to be. I probably could go a little harder on the follow up. I try and utilize the buckets if to have the automated system text them if they didn't answer. But usually right when it comes in, I try and call them immediately just because they just submitted it. So I try and get in touch with them before they start talking to other people. So that usually is good. And then from there, if it's a qualified lead that is pretty motivated, we'll stay in touch with them. Frequently, I'll just text them or call them, and then if they don't answer, I'll drop them into the other buckets so they can follow up, and then I'll try and reach them a couple times a week.
That's great. That's great. Are you guys? Do you consider maybe you guys are kind of creative when it comes to a lead that is ghosting or maybe is not answering? What do you usually do? Because I have some clients that they literally go at Facebook and they copy and paste the email. They look for them and they use Facebook Messenger, like Messenger, to talk to them. Sometimes they're not answering, but it does not mean that they're not motivated. So how do you guys usually do?
That's a good point. I have not tried that, but that is a good idea. Sometimes if it's someone that I've talked to and I know they were looking to sell, but maybe they hadn't answered for a while, I'll just drop them in the bucket that says offer or make an offer. We just sent you an offer, whatever it is in that bucket, and then that way they'll respond sometimes like, I didn't see your offer, and then I'll get back on the phone with them. So that's a nice little strategy too. But yeah, I haven't really tried the social media thing.
Well, actually, that's really creative because I know that we're not sending offers, but that's something that is going to help us for them to answer and to at least have a conversation. So that's great. That's a really good one. Thanks for sharing, Ben.
Yep.
All right. And how long did it take you to convert this lead into a deal? Like I know that it's still in progress, but do you have kind of like a closing date already, or?
The main one that will be hopefully the best right now. I mean, with innovation, we had to extend out the time a little bit just because we're selling it on the market now. But should close. I mean, we got it under contract like a week and a half ago, maybe. I can't remember exactly. And then hopefully in a month we'll have it closed. That one's just a little longer because it's all of them have something to come up that we're dealing with. But if it's a normal wholesale deal, we'll try and do it within 3 weeks.
Perfect. Love it. And do you, by any chance, do you have the information about the ROI? Like, what was your ROI on these 3 deals? Do you already have buyers, or you're still working on it?
No. So that's what the novation one will be trying to find a retail buyer. So, once we find that, I can let you know. I can get an estimate if we get the number we want. But those ones we haven't closed yet that are currently under contract. So.
Okay. Just please let us know so we can start tracking your numbers.
Yeah, we have past ones that we've closed, but those are from last month.
And from those, what was your ROI? Do you remember?
The best one will be we actually we used a funding partner to purchase a house in Snyder at $90,000, and we're reselling it right now to a retail buyer. We didn't even put any repairs into it for 189. So we'll be splitting that with the people that funded it. But that was probably our best deal that we've had. It's just taken a while because other buyers' financing fell through.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's a great one, actually. Thanks for sharing. Quick question. So what advice would you give to other real estate investors who are just, like getting started and trying to close their first deal? What do you think it's a good technique, strategy when it comes to sales, or, like your following up process? What do you think it could be helpful?
I would say having all the strategies, like you said. If you're just only trying to wholesale cash, you're not going to be able to convert as many. If you know how to do creative finance subject to novations, even like having the network to fund some of these deals. This guy needed it. It closed quickly, and it was in the middle of nowhere. So we just had to fund it and do, I guess, a wholesale where we just put it back on the market. But if you can have all the strategies, it's going to be a lot more effective, because sometimes they do want too much money. But if you can do a novation, you might be able to make it a deal or something creative.
And last question, a couple more questions and we're done here. So Ben, quick question about the leads that you have gotten so far, or maybe the ones that were under contract and they're already closed. Any of those leads were kind of like retail value leads, and you guys had to negotiate and
Yeah, I would say I'm gonna get a decent amount of those where we're trying to just work them down. Typically, if it's house is in good enough condition and they don't have enough motivation, we'll just refer a realtor. But yeah, we definitely try and negotiate those, and it's just a longer follow-up game if they're not needing it sold as quick.
Love it. All right, thank you so much. And last question would be, are there maybe any other potential deals right now in your pipeline that you're excited about? Can you give us kind of like a preview of what's coming up?
Yeah, I'm going to one appointment today. It was pretty local to where I'm at. It's a divorce situation. House is pretty run down. It's in a nice area in the mid city, so I'm gonna go over there, kind of build some rapport with the seller, and hopefully get him under contract. We're just waiting to hear from the wife. I've only talked with the husband, so.
Okay. Divorce. Okay. I've seen a bunch of them, ultimately, divorce. But yeah, that's a really good motivation. All right, Ben. Well, thank you so much for sharing this with us. I really appreciate it, taking the time. And I'm glad to hear that you guys are crushing it, because you've been really good at this. Like I'm always checking the CRM. You try to keep it updated, and also, like your follow-up, which is really aggressive. It's also helping us, to have these type of opportunities, right? Because at the end of the day, we need to get them on the phone to actually, let's say, judge the lead and start our negotiation process and the sales process, of course. So congrats. I'm glad to hear that. Please say hi to Zach, because it's your partner and you're working as a team, and it's been great working with you guys. So thank you so much for sharing. I hope you have a beautiful day, and talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Bye, Ben.